guys, welcome to an episode of Inspired by MsAmberRed. Today we are here with Serenity with Alluring Ink Studio. And I actually found her on a Facebook group. She was talking about something crazy that had happened. But before we jump into that, let me have her introduce herself, and then we'll hop right into her story that I have actually never experienced before. All right, girl.
Hi, I'm Serenity. Serenity Brown. I advertise and post my work by Alluring Ink. And I'm from Kentucky, Western Kentucky. And I'm just happy to be here.
How long have you been tattooing?
Right at 3.5 years. I've been doing permanent makeup, and I got trained in SMP from Taryn Quinn Terry.
Okay.
A year ago. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Brisa, you've been with me now 3 years too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody in the studio has ever experienced this before. So you got to give us I don't think most people in the industry have experienced this before. So you have to give us the juicy details. I want to know, what were you smelling? What was the music?
Man.
What was the... And then, so let me know all those good juicy details.
I was performing an eyeliner on a client. She was a new client. I'd never met her before. And I noticed right off the bat, she had very bulgy eyes and a little bit of drooping in this area. But I've worked on people with thyroid type eyes, a little bulgy before, never had any major problems. So I wasn't immediately alarmed.
So when you say bulgy, were they you could visibly see the eyes protrude?
They were just, she had very prominent eyes.
Okay.
And people with thyroid conditions like Graves' disease, their eyes from the pressure kind of bulge a little bit. It's not very uncommon at all. So we got started. She numbed, everything was going good. We were on our second pass on her left top eyelid, and I had her stretched, which I work with them in front of me, from their side. So I had her stretched with this hand, properly stretched. And her eye was closed, and then all of a sudden it just started coming out. It just popped out of the eyelid, and it was so hilarious because she's a really nice, sweet little church lady, and she was telling me how she cooks for the potluck and the pastor. And as soon as I seen it, I was like, oh my fucking God. Oh my God. What is that? What is happening? And she was like, no, it's okay. It's fine. It happens. It's happened a few times. And I was like,
okay, wait, pause. Okay, hold on. Back up. So
yeah,
the eyeball came completely out, or just kind of
it was out here. It was
so it was out of the socket.
Yes. And I was like, oh my God. And she was like, no, it's fine. She just reached up and stretched her eyelid with her own hands.
And popped it back in.
Yes. And
wait.
She was like, no, it's fine. We can continue. And I was like, listen, so I'm going to get you some gel cooling packs to kind of help you stay comfortable, and I need just a 2-minute breather. And at the time, my boss and mentor was outside. She was out front of the shop, and I was like, I'm just gonna step outside for a minute and kind of collect myself, and I'll be back. And I totally didn't address the fact that I was real unprofessional and screaming, oh my fucking God. But I just kind of excused myself, and I ran outside, and to my boss, we're friends, I was like, bitch, you just missed the event.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
And she was like, what do you mean it popped out? And she was like, you mean her lid? Because that sometimes if they're fighting you, their
The eye
lip.
meat might pop out a little bit. So we're not talking eye meat. We're talking
And
the eyeball.
she was like, what do you mean her eyeball? You mean her eyelid? And I was like, no, bitch, her eyeball popped out of her head.
So wait,
And
could
she
you
was
see
like,
that whole eyeball? Or you could just, because don't eyeballs have
the whole
dangly things
thing,
on the
the whole
backside?
the whole thing. And I was
shouldn't
so
be laughing,
grossed
but
out.
I just think this is, I kind of like weird shit, and I kind of think that, like, I probably would have stared at it and wanted to, like, oh, that's what an eyeball looks like behind it.
No,
Like,
I was so creeped out that I immediately pulled my hands back because her eye is completely exposed. But then I looked down and, oh God, no, like I just can't. I had to.
So
It was
eyeballs,
scary.
when they pop out of the head, do they bleed?
No,
No.
no. And actually, I actually spoke to an optometrist on Monday. It was just like coincidence. My son needed refills on his contacts, and I was like, listen, like, can I get your professional opinion on something? Because I've never had it happen. My mentor's been doing it for 8 years. She's never had it happen. Like, Taryn's my S&P mentor. She's been doing this 12 years and
Yeah.
it's never happened. That's like over 20 years experience and no history of eyeballs popping out. And he was like, oh yeah, it's not that uncommon. I mean, it's really, he was like, I saw it twice when I was in medical school. And I was like, and according to Google, it's a medical emergency. He was like, only if they can't put it back in, as long as they can put. And he was like, if they can't put it back in, you just need to assist them in putting it back in. And I was just like,
Excuse me? Come again?
I'm supposed to what?
Wash your hands first, though, right?
Help them stretch the eyelid open and it will just go back where it's meant to be.
What if it like twists and you put it in backwards?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, how do you just put it back in the right way? Because I feel like I imagine an eyeball coming out that it would kind of be like dangling and like flopping. So like to get it back in the exact same way, maybe it just figures itself out when it's back in there.
Professionally, I'm not ever putting anybody's eyeball back in. Like, I'll give them a mirror. I'll hold the mirror for them. I am not doing that. That's a little bit beyond my pay grade.
You know what?
And
They
if
can
they
probably
can't-
still see. So when she's looking there and down there.
No, you absolutely probably
She's
could
like,
still
"What the-"
see. Like, that's crazy.
Could still see me. She said that she didn't know it was happening. She didn't even feel it coming out. She just knew she couldn't see me. And then, oh, ta-da, there I was.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so what did we learn from this? Eyeballs can pop out during eyeliner procedures. Did the doctors say anything, like anything you could look for? I don't know.
He said that it is more common with people who have like the drooping disease of the eyes where it doesn't have the elasticity that holds it in place.
Okay.
And he said that if someone has had it happen before, then they're going to be at a much higher likelihood of it happening again. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once it's happened, then because I know some, like with some eye doctors and whatnot, some people, some of them are like, oh, don't get eyeliner done. It can be damaging to the eye. I've heard that before. And then on the flip side of it, some are not like okay with the eyeliner tattooing. So did he have a preference one way or another?
I asked him, I was like, so would you say that anybody with like bulgy eyes or with a history of what they call globe luxation, which is the medical definition for it actually coming out, would you recommend that they're not a candidate for eyeliner? And he was like, no, it should be fine. And I was like, okay.
So
all right.
Everybody out there, add that to your consent forms.
Yes.
Have you ever had your
definitely.
eyeball pop out before? But maybe use the medical term.
Yeah.
Like the worst part about it was I had another eyeliner directly after her to do, and I couldn't help myself. The woman had heard the whole thing because we were talking about it, my next client. And I was like, listen, I'm sorry, but I've just got to ask. Do
Yeah.
either of your eyes pop out? Has that ever happened to you? And she was like, no.
And I think we should say too, probably, because you said you've been tattooing for 3 years. I've been tattooing for 10 years. The girls have been tattooing for at least 3 years now too. So it's like, it's not like, I don't want to say it's not common, but obviously being aware that it is possible, and it's not like we're Joe Schmo on the street that like we're brand new to tattooing and that you didn't by any means do anything wrong. That this is just like something that can happen.
Yeah, somebody joked on one of the posts, and they were like, "Well, Anthony didn't tell me this could happen," and I was like, "Girl, the same. I took his class too, like his webinar.
I'll add it to
Never heard anything about eyes popping out being a potential risk, and I was overwhelmed by how many dozens of other artists had never even heard of it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I was like, I'm going to go add it to my class after this with this photo. I'm like, hey, girl, like, shout out to you for bringing this to our attention. Well, girl.
Yeah, I was like, man, did I miss something? Like, did I have to go to the bathroom and miss like a segment where we talked about the eyes maybe popping out? But no, and some of the body artists that I work with, they didn't believe me. They were like, what happened? And I was like, yeah, it came out.
And it came out. I'm glad it happened to her and not me.
I would be freaking out.
That's what my boss said. She was like, oh, I'm so glad that happened to you and not me. It was a lot.
So are you still going to tattoo eyeliner? You're not giving it up, right?
Never. I love doing eyeliner. I probably do more eyeliner than anything else.
That's awesome.
It's like my favorite.
Well, do you want to give a shout out to the studio that you work at? You want to give maybe your social media tags, and then I'll also drop it in the comments so people can follow you guys and ask you about eyeliners popping out.
Big shout out to Pink Needle Tattoo, Mackenzie Fields, PMU, Courtney Hall. She's a tattoo artist, body artist here. Matt Salties, he's here. Jeffrey Woodford. Yes. Woodford. Okay, sorry, I'm bad with last names, but that's all the artists I work with, and much love and much respect to the show. Thank you for having me on and getting my story and sharing it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I know it was last minute for you. I was like, literally, I was on the couch. I was like, oh my God, I got to message her right now. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner.
No, you're good, girl.
So I appreciate you joining us. Yeah, thank you so much. And I will, once this episode airs and everything, I'll shoot you a message and give you all the details on how you can access it.
Okay, great.
Hey, girls.
Thank you so much.
And thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Inspired by MsAmberRed. Hopefully you guys don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe, and give her a follow. And for any eyeball popping out questions, hit her up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.